Everybody, good evening. Wow, time check here is 8:05 in China. Ooh, what a beautiful day it was outside here in Chongqing, and I hope it's a great morning where you are, great afternoon, great evening, and possibly the middle of the night. Depends where you're joining us from. Please let us know in the side tab there, in the column there, in the comment section, where you guys are from tonight. It's great to once again have a fantastic live stream with AJ from PTE. We've connected his channels. They're warming up, and same with the iChongqing channel. Of course, you probably know my channel already. I'm Alex from Reporterfy Media. And of course, collaborating with the fantastic people at iChongqing here for over a year now in this amazing city here. We got lots to talk about tonight. Let's do a little bit of a sound check. You guys can let me know if you can hear me okay, if you can see me okay. That would be a good start, right? It's nice to have Jonathan back. Nice to see you, Jonathan. Thank you for coming. Ben, great to see you here as well. Good afternoon, Route 55. Thank you very much, Rude Boy Sass, coming here to support me. That's greatly appreciated. We have a lot to cover tonight. And as you can see by the top of the menu bar there, it says Meta's $1 trillion VR bet, virtual reality bet. Wow. Now, I'm going to bring on actually an expert in this one. This is AJ. AJ actually was calling this quite a while ago. And we had a discussion about a couple of days ago. And I said, you know what? We got to bring this back on the program. We have to bring it back. And lo and behold, 11,000 people fired later or about to be laid off at Meta, otherwise known as Facebook. We're here today, and we're going to cover lots of stuff, guys. So stick around and say hello to everybody. Grab a tea, grab a coffee, grab a Coca-Cola, whatever you like. Without further ado, I'm bringing on AJ onto the program. AJ, great to have you here. How are you, sir?
Good morning, Alex. Good morning. Good to have you here. Good to speak to you. And hello to all the viewers. Thank you to all the moderators, everyone that's listening. Yeah, I'm great, Alex. It's been an amazing week. One day is a long time in politics, and even longer time if you're a CEO of Facebook. But yeah, it's great to have great to be here. Thanks for bringing me along, and we have a lot to talk about. Like I said, yeah, I
Oh,
made
do
a
we
video
ever?
about Facebook a few I think last week or a few days ago, but I called them out a long time ago, way before that. I knew this would happen. But yeah, with lot to talk about, and yeah, I hope everyone's having a great day. It's quite cold here in UK. I've started putting the heating on, and I can imagine there's going to be some um, power cuts happening in the next few months because it's very cold here, Alex. Very cold.
AJ, have you been warming up the bricks of gold on the fireplace there? Because that's what you're going to have to melt gold to pay for the electricity bill, huh?
I don't think my heating is hot enough to melt gold. Even if I put it on maximum, it's not hot enough. But we'll see. I might have to chop up some firewood and put it in the oven or something.
Well, we have some interesting news. Let's tackle the big one first. This Meta here. This has been an absolute disaster from the get-go. I can relate to this. You know, virtual reality. My kind of first experience with this was Second Life, a game that was kind of like a simulated virtual reality, but VR headsets weren't really out back then. It was quite early days. I think it was around 2008 or 9. Linden Studios or something like that had them, and it was interesting. It was a fad. It had in real life avatars. You could purchase things, and it was kind of cool. For how long it lasted. It did have quite a bit of people in the game playing it. And it was kind of like you would live your life in a virtual world, and you could buy a home, you could virtually build it. It was kind of fun. I actually spent a long time in there. Linden Labs, that's correct, Jonathan. Thank you for that. My memory, it was all right there, but I almost had it. And it was cool. It's still around. It's still operating. But this idea that the owner, the biggest shareholder, one of the biggest shareholders, Mark Zuckerberg, is basically saying this is the future. AJ, he's made a colossal mistake here into the, what was the figure that you were estimating that the share value has lost and the investment lost in this
Yeah, we're
about
talking about 800 million, probably more now. When I
with a
last
B,
checked, yeah, the actual
800
value of the
billion.
company, 800 billion they've lost, because at one point their shares were up to, I believe, around six, 700. Let me just check the graph. I mean,
Yeah,
at one
that could
point
be
it went,
before the
yeah,
reverse split. Yeah, I know what you
yeah.
mean.
At one point it did go down to 80. Um,
Let's have a look
Here you
here. I'll
go.
bring it up on the
It
screen.
went all the way down to about 88 or something like that. But at one point it was, yeah, it was just around 378 at one
Yeah.
point.
Yeah, you're
Um,
right. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And
and
then
it's
it
gone,
has just spiraled.
went down to around 88, which was the lowest. Um, huge,
Mm.
yeah, huge fall. Because if you think about it, they're not in the top 20 even. They are one of the. I mean, there's Home Depot is worth more than Facebook at the moment.
Oh my. Mm. How they fall so fast, it's amazing. Then they have their hands in many other things. And I'm getting a little bit concerned here about, when you start to see companies like this who definitely have government involvements. Let's not let's not distract that Facebook is not talking to the NSA or the CIA or the FBI. They've outright admitted it. So if this fails, if Meta fails, I think the next target is going to be TikTok. And what I
Yeah,
mean by that is, and I'll let you just add to that, AJ,
yeah,
just in case we have a different point here, is I believe that TikTok is going to, the US government's going to target it. It's going to
yeah,
get it out of the way. And you came up with the same conclusion on this. Go ahead, AJ.
yeah, definitely. I mean, we all know that Facebook's collapsing, and Instagram has been taking a big loss as well, because TikTok has been taking a lot of users away from Instagram, and you can see by the figures, TikTok is the number one um, social media app at the moment, and it's taken a lot of users from Instagram. Instagram can be a bit boring at times. TikTok is a lot more fun. You can do a lot more stuff with TikTok. And TikTok has taken a huge share from Instagram. So if they get rid of TikTok, again, everybody in the West will go back to Instagram, because there's nothing else out there. There's no other competition. And they did the same thing to Huawei. Huawei was
Mm-hmm.
obviously one of the largest phone selling companies in the world, and they were overtaking Apple, I believe, in China, and they were on its way to becoming the biggest phone company in the world, and well, the U.S. government has got them out of the way and increased Apple's share. So they did that to Apple to help save them, and they'll probably do that to Facebook and Instagram as well. But yeah, this virtual reality thing, Alex, it was never
Mm-hmm.
gonna work, because it's one of those. Yeah, first of all, I got one in my workplace, right? We get
Right,
one
right.
from Facebook. Actually give it to us for free, and they're really encouraging us to use it in virtual rooms and stuff like that. So first of all, it's one headset shared between the whole workplace, so it's very sweaty. You can imagine it's been around in a lot of heads. So if you buy a headset, it has to be your own headset. Secondly, all the women in my workplace, they don't wear it because it messes up their hair. They say it messes
Right.
up their makeup, messes up their false eyelashes. No woman will wear it. And I mean, even my girlfriend, if I take her to cinema, she will never wear 3D glasses, because she thinks it'll mess up her hair and her makeup, and her lashes will fall off. So it's not a thing that women like. They don't like wearing these big headsets. Yeah, it might be for men, but I can guarantee you, every woman in my workplace said, they just said no straight away. So it's not something they do. Secondly, you know, why would you? why would you go into this virtual environment and have a meeting? You might as well just have a real meeting with Zoom or any other, services if you're not around, and see the real
Hmm.
person. Why would you go and see a virtual person? It just makes no sense. Thirdly, the graphics are absolutely hideous. I don't know if you've seen the graphics,
Yeah,
Alex. This is like 1980s graphics, but even in the 1980s, they had better graphics than what they have now, and people are walking around with no legs. It looks really weird. You're just thinking, what the hell is this? And everything you do in the metaverse, you have to pay for it. Like, you jump in a car, you got to pay for it. You jump in a shop, you got to pay for it. Everything is monetized, every single thing. You want to go to the gym, you want to go for a walk, you got to pay for it. you know Everything is monetized. So imagine this. We all know that Facebook is probably one of the most dodgiest companies in the world, and they've released some papers, a couple of days ago. They released it, just before the midterms, that the fact that Facebook was actively helping the government in shutting down people who are speaking the truth, banning
Hmm.
them, um, kind of shadow banning them as well, and outright banning them. And they were kind of promoting posts which was spreading the narrative, and this came out a few days ago. So why would you like spend your time in a company when, if your political views do not match theirs, they can kick you out at any point?
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
so imagine this, Alex. You go into the metaverse, you buy a house, you spend a lot of money, a virtual house, you spend a lot of your virtual time there, you meet some virtual friends, and you invest in a lot of properties. And to one of your virtual friends, you talk about the Ukraine war, for example, and it doesn't match your it doesn't match your it doesn't match the Facebook's narrative. So
Right.
what do? They kick you out, because this whole world is controlled by Facebook. They control your money, they control your properties. They can kick you out at any point, saying, oh, we it's like Twitter. They can kick you out at any point, and I say you lost everything. You can't get all of that back. So why would anyone spend their money and time into that you know crappy virtual world where they control everything, you control nothing? It just
I
doesn't make
wonder,
sense.
it's interesting. I wonder if they have like virtual bouncers in there, community
Yeah.
people ready to show you the door. Yeah.
No, they don't even need bouncers. It's all, when you have a chat with somebody in a virtual world, all of that is monitored. It's all,
Hmm.
whatever you do, whatever you say, it's all kept in a database. Everything is
Hmm.
kept in a database, and they just kind of go through. And if you say something about Ukraine, you'll flag up, and they'll say sorry. Next thing you know, you're being kicked out of the metaverse, and you're thinking, what the hell? Well, this is what Zuckerberg wants. He wants total control. And this is the only way he can have total control over people. So imagine if you got a property and you spent a lot of money and time in the virtual world. He controls all of that. He controls you. You have to basically go along whatever he says, otherwise you lose everything. And that's what they want. They want total control over you, over your assets. And
Hmm.
I think the people are not stupid. I mean, you just have to look at the figures of how many people that are logged into Facebook Meta, and people are logged in, and people are not stupid. I think you know times have changed. Times have changed, Alex. The virtual reality would have been great a few years ago before social media, but nowadays people want fast dopamine hits.
Yeah.
They want to go through Instagram, they want to go through TikTok, they want to go into Tinder. They want fast dopamine hits. One click, one click, one click. You can, some guys go in there to
Hmm.
see beautiful women.
Hmm.
Some women go in there to see other beautiful women. It's a very social media is a very gives you a very fast dopamine hit. You go from picture
Hmm.
to picture to picture. You like, you like, you like. If you upload your picture and other people like, you kind of get that dopamine hit as well. For you to get people away from that and into the virtual world is almost impossible, because the world is now used to social media. The world is now
Hmm.
used to speedy, fast hits. The way the world is moving, Alex. People don't have time for phone calls or
Hmm.
text messages. You know, like I got to be honest with you. Like if I meet a woman from the opposite sex, this was way before I met my missus, right?
Hmm.
And she gives me her number, and first thing I do is call her, and she thinks, when she picks up, she's like, "Why are you calling me?" It's like you expect to text her. She doesn't have time for phone calls. You gotta text her. You gotta send her a message on Instagram or something like that. But when you call them, they feel like they get shocked. They're like, "Why is this guy calling me?" I mean, well, this is why he gave you a number, right? To talk to
Yeah.
me. Like, yeah,
You know, it,
yeah.
it, it, it,
People
it-
just don't have the time for phone calls anymore. Everyone just wants a quick, dopamine hit, quick
yeah, I
message, and that's
agree.
it.
I mean, adding to that, I mean, it couldn't be easy to say that this kind of is like a fad. Like we all thought 3D television would bring us into this amazing thing. Everybody ran out, got 3D TVs. They got these Blu-ray 3D. Oh, can it play 3D? Oh yeah, it's 3D. And Hollywood got on it, and then it fizzled. It died at the cost of billions. And
Mm,
now we have a company that is trying to ram it down our throat. It's not going to be free. This is not going to be free, but we're seeing the viewership uh, into the hundreds. That's it.
yeah,
Communities that are being built where they're virtual ghost towns.
yeah.
I mean, just the cost, not even talking the market cap that has been beat up on this thing, but just the cost of that, plus 20 billion and more. And yes, Ben's got an interesting thing there. 3D TV, laser disc, Discman, Blu-ray, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. How true is that? Um, you know,
Yeah.
we we're dealing with some serious things too with some privacy issues, and you've
Mm,
got to understand that Facebook needs, how can you moderate something like this? This
yeah, that's
could
right.
spell trouble for many you know bad intended situations here. I'm not
Of
going to get
course,
into them in detail, but
of course, yeah.
like hell, I would let a child go on into that, and they'll say, yeah, well, we got age verification. What? Are you over 18? Click, go in. I mean,
Yeah.
it's even YouTube is not doing a great job on that. I know as content creators, we have that box that we have to tick. Is this
Mm,
video available for audiences under this certain age? No matter what, I put all my videos, with compliance of what's suggested from YouTube. They suggest where my videos should be placed. I agree with them. And you got to really take into consideration that this is, a platform that is trying to integrate people. Someone's going to scam it. Someone's going to scam the system. Someone's going to, I don't know. I mean, is this what a guy does with $20 billion of the capitalization of the company's money? Is
yeah,
this a
they
guy
say,
that's just bored?
yeah, they say it's 20 billion, but it's more closer to 100 billion. They've not factored in a lot of costs in there, and they're
He needs
hiding
Sheryl Sandberg back to
mm,
babysit him.
yeah, they need to factor in a lot of costs that they haven't put in there. But one of the things is we've got a Facebook office in London, and that holds about 6,000 employees. And I was looking at the internet yesterday, and that Facebook group in LinkedIn
Hmm.
and also a few other Twitter, everybody from the London office seems to be being laid off, first of all.
Mm.
And I was reading a lot of Twitter accounts from people, and one particular guy from India, he came all the way from India into the London office. He just literally landed, and he was saying how happy he was is joining Facebook. And the next day, he's given his marching orders. And it wasn't just him, but there's many others as well. And the thing is, the London offices are very expensive. They are right in the middle of city centre,
Mm.
and Facebook is always known for being a great place to work. The offices are like little playgrounds where you come in and there's lots of things to do, lots of things to play with. and people love working in Facebook. And the next thing you know, everybody's laid off from the London office. You can imagine how crazy people are getting. All over Twitter, people are like, "Oh my God, I thought Facebook was a job for life. I can't believe they're letting us go." And and it's a shame, really. And I think what this kind of shows you is, number one, oh yeah, I forgot to mention the headset. Headset is £1,500 or something ridiculous. I mean, in this day and age, who's going to pay for a £1,500 headset? I mean, who can afford that crap? So it's like going on social media. Like, if you're saying, oh, you need a headset for Instagram, just to go on Instagram, you've got to pay £1,500. No one's going to pay £1,500 to go on there. I mean, what
I
does
don't
he
think
think?
so either.
Does he think that people are mad and crazy? Who's just going to pay £1,500? And he thinks that these 3D headsets are going to be like mobile phones of the future, where everyone's going to have one, everyone's going to walk around with one. No way, absolutely no way. This is going to happen. I mean, look, Alex, we probably
Yeah.
will go into virtual reality at one point in our lives, but I don't think the time is now. The first of all, the graphics are really crap. So
Hmm.
when you're used to playing games, and you play Call of Duty and many other games that come
Hmm.
out, and they've got amazing graphics, and you actually feel like you're in that world, and it's
Hmm.
a first person shooter, and
Hmm.
you're seeing all sorts of great graphics. Then you go into the metaverse and you think, what the hell is this? You're going back like 40, 50 years to like really disgusting, crappy graphics. And no, no, first of all, that's going to be rejected. Yeah,
Hmm.
I don't know if you've seen a film called Ready Player One.
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
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 So I think the world believes that, believes that it would be something like that if if the metaverse was like that, then I would be like, yeah, that's cool. I'm gonna go in as myself, because if it was that good, then great. But the world is not ready for those graphics yet. You need probably 6G speeds. You need
Hmm.
graphics cards which are probably 100 times more powerful
Oh
than what
yeah.
they are now. You need
Absolutely.
machines probably 100 times more powerful than what they are now. We are not ready
Yeah.
for that age yet. So I think maybe in another 20, 30 years, maybe we might have that kind of technology. But right now, you know, we do not have that technology. And I was doing some research, Alex, and one of the
Hmm.
reasons Facebook has got some such bland graphics is because they're still using 4G speeds, because they don't really have 5G yet in the United States. And that's their
Mm.
own fault. They kicked out 5G, because when you're in a virtual world like that, and you have a virtual world, right? And you're basically moving a lot of data back and forth,
Hmm.
and you're playing on the cloud, so it needs a lot of you need a really fast internet access, first of all. And when you're in the virtual world, you need very fast speeds to move 1 gigabyte a second. So you cannot do that if you do not have 5G. And Facebook, obviously, they're still using 4G technology. It's not just speed, but the graphics in itself is really bad. It's just basic
Mm.
programming. I think what they've done is they've probably hired a lot of people from India as well, try to save costs. Um,
Right.
and the thing is, i- I'm not saying anything bad about India. Well, I mean, there are some really great programmers in India. But what I'm saying is, I think what Facebook has done is they try to save costs too much, and probably sacrifice a lot on quality rather than sacrifice a lot on quality rather than someone with a lot of someone with a lot of skills, someone with lots of creativity, someone who thinks outside the box. They probably
Hmm.
just did something really, really kind of basic. And I can't believe Mark Zuckerberg is putting his whole business at risk with this venture. I mean, he's still doubling down on it, and he's still doubling down. Like these neocons are doubling down on the Ukraine war, same way as Mark Zuckerberg was still doubling down on this metaverse. He's pouring more money in every single day. He's um, he's cutting staff, but he's still going to pour money into the metaverse. He's changed his company name to Meta from Facebook. That's how much he
Yeah,
believes in it.
that's
And
risky. And the other thing that I
yeah,
think, is, is he going to have a big meeting inside the metaverse and say, we're going to now kind of have a virtual reality recession? and this is what it's going to look like. I mean, there's no good end in sight here. When you start seeing companies of this magnitude starting to cut staff, it's hard. It's going to have to be continually to be carved down. I mean, this is the first. I don't think this is going to be the last.
Yeah.
It was. I think Silicon Valley was waiting. Who's gonna jump first on the firings? Because let's be honest here. Ever since this pandemic ravaged these financial markets back in March of 2020, a person that is close to these markets, still think these companies are still way, way, way overvalued. I would say half of the companies are debt ridden in the S&P right now. Some of these companies, look at Twitter. Elon's been pretty transparent about it. $4 million loss a day. And, you just can't keep burning and burning and burning that type of money. Sure, the programmers, and it's really, for me, when I start to see this kind of cutting and then the people are saying, hey, I lost my job. Sorry, guys, but life is tough for everybody right now. Imagine somebody that's either been laid off from Meta or Twitter has had a pretty decent time if they worked there for the last few years. If they were smart, they would save some money. They probably cashed in a few stock options and probably got royally. Most of the employees probably had some stock option program. That's how they roll down in Silicon Valley. It's usually low wage, high option package. Well, most of those employees
the
probably
stocks are useless now.
Yes, but when you're taking a company private, they value that strike price above the paid price.
Yeah.
So, for example, if an employee had stock options at $20, $30 and he exercised to sell them at 54 strike, and maybe he made off with, who knows, $500,000 to $2, $3, $4 million, walks out with a box of stuff and says, oh, it's really sad and depressing. Well, is it? I mean, so here's the thing is that when you see some of these big companies lay off, a lot of these people have done very well working at these companies for many, many years. Now they have to go out. They have to let their resume talk for themselves. Welcome to the real world, everyone. Not every office has pool tables and ping pong tables and cafe latte machines and aerobics and Pilates classes and EV cars. I mean, there is life out of Silicon Valley. And this is the thing is, as we see this market continue to trickle down, I think things are going to get pretty nasty here. Unless this country that I'm in right now opens its doors and figures itself out how to get this world going again. Because as I said before, I don't feel the world economy is open until the big ship has started to sail, and that's the 1.5 billion here in China.
Yeah,
we've had some setbacks here in the last couple of weeks here with some of the I don't want to use that word lockdown, but let's just say that some of the restrictions that come into place. I get it, I understand it. Sometimes it's frustrating, but you got to remember that this is a country that is trying its best to maneuver out of this. How do they do that? I don't know. I'm sure there's a lot of people sitting at tables that have been discussing about, how do we open this country again? They have to be very, very responsible for it. You're dealing with 1.5 billion people that have trusted in this government the last few years. I think the most frustrating thing about it is it's not the fact that, when you see the outside world say, well, China is closed. Well, it's not closed inside China. Like, I mean, we can go pretty much everywhere in the last year here, except, you have a little bit of responsibility. You got to think ahead. Hey, if you're going to go to Shanghai, there could be a possibility that you get caught in a zone that maybe someone's affected. So the thing is that China is open. It has been open. It's continued to stay open internally and domestically. I think it's more people are excited to go and explore outside of the borders. That, and when it's kind of like if I said to you, AJ, let's go to, I don't know, let's go to the Bahamas in 2 weeks, and you're ready to go to the
Sure, why not?
Bahamas, and yeah, and I said, look, we're going to have to delay that another couple of months, and that is, I think, the only frustrating thing, and for the moment, that's manageable. And I think the people, they get a bit annoyed about it. I can understand that, but I think most people here are quite happy that they haven't seen hospitals or medical workers just absolutely broken down. I mean, you must have witnessed some of that in the UK when you guys were going through the peak in the NHS, didn't you?
Yeah, that's right. That's right. It was pretty. Yeah, it's quite a pretty bad experience, to be honest. But before I go into that, I just want
Mm-hmm.
to kind of follow on from what you said about Facebook. Um,
Please.
Facebook is probably one of the most evilest company ever. I mean, a lot of people don't understand this about Facebook, but one of the reasons Facebook got banned from China is because the terrorists who were ETIM, they were using Facebooks to, coordinate attacks all over China. And at the time, Facebook was in China, and the government asked Facebook to kind of, close them down and track them down and trying to help them find who these people were. And Facebook
Mm-hmm.
refused, and they said, no, we
Mm.
cannot do that because of privacy laws and stuff. And this is why Facebook got banned in China. The government said, you know what, you just get lost. We don't need you. And since then, you've seen the growth of Chinese social media. Obviously, you've seen there's so many amazing social media stuff out there. There's TikTok, Weibo, WeChat, Bilibili. There's many out there, and most of them are better than what the West has provided. So, for example, TikTok's better than Instagram, and you just have to, I mean, don't take my word for it, you just have to look at the most active social media sites online, and you can see TikTok is number one in terms of viewerships, and in terms of users is still number one. And then you got to look at all these other Facebook, Chinese apps as well. And people don't understand that the population of the West is still mild in comparison to China. You got 1.4, 1.5 billion people, and and if you have, if you have that many people, you do not need Western social media. So again, you got to look back at what Facebook has done in the past. They're a very evil company. They very much go with what the Western governments tell them to do. But if and you got to say they completely deserve it. They were, Facebook, and especially Zuckerberg, used to be very arrogant at one point. They thought they can't do any wrong. They were the number one social media company. They were very arrogant in the way they were doing things around the world, and what they did to China in terms of those terrorist attacks. And I got to say, Alex, they completely deserve what's coming to them.
Mm.
And I have no sympathy for Facebook whatsoever. I stopped using Facebook more than 10 years ago. It's nobody uses that crap anymore. I mean, it's just old. Probably some old school people still use it, but none of the youngsters will use it. And eventually, as as it- this generation grows older and new generation comes online, eventually, people will completely stop using Facebook. It will just disappear. And Instagram, less and less people will use Instagram, and Instagram could be banned from places like Europe as well because of new laws that are taking place in Europe, where you got to place your database and your data center in Europe if you're going to run Instagram in Europe. So you're going to have one data center in Europe, you're going to have one data center in United Kingdom, and it's the same everywhere else in the world. You got to kind of have your data center within that country if you're going to run the app. So Instagram's going to die down very soon. It's probably going to be banned in Europe, and also other apps have been stabbing Facebook in the back as well. For example, Apple phones. uh, previously, Facebook used to use Western phones like Apple to spy on people, at least report spyware. And there's
Right.
an app called Facebook Messenger, which if you install the Messenger on your phone, that that used to be spyware. Used to send out information about your browsing history and what you do. And
Yeah, I mean, they've been caught red-handed. These guys have been caught
yeah,
red-handed.
exactly. So Apple has released this new security package where it stops Facebook from doing that. And because it stopped Facebook from doing that, Facebook's advertisement revenue has been going down severely because
Mm,
they do not know what you want. For example, if you're browsing on the internet and you're looking for some shoes, for example, and Facebook in the past, Facebook would have known that. And when you go into Facebook, when you go into other internet sites, you will have some pop-ups saying, yeah, you can buy these shoes, for example. If you go to Instagram, they'll come up some shoe companies. But now these pop-ups are going to be completely different from what you're looking for. So if you're looking for shoes, they start popping out some say, for example, um, you know they pop up some 3D TVs which nobody wants, for example. You're not going to click on that. You're not going to even bother with that. So this is why advertisement revenue has been going down on Facebook, because they don't know what people want. Because one of the major things about selling is you can only sell to people depending on what their needs are. So if their needs are for a shoe, you got to show them some shoe companies and etc. But you can't just show them a 3D TV if they don't need it, right?
mhm.
So this is why advertising revenue has been going down on Facebook. And
Yeah.
investors are leaving Facebook in drones, Alex.
Yeah, of
People are
course. You
just,
you can see the collapse
yeah,
of the share price. Another thing that
yeah,
bothered me about Facebook, and there's one reason why I never had Facebook, is decades ago, I got an email from a friend that said, "Hey, or I said I got an email from you to add you to Facebook," and he says, "Well, I never sent it to you." And immediately at that time, when I started seeing, them, slamming out Facebooks all over the place to people, join up, find me here, find me there. I mean, some people don't want to be found.
mm,
I think if you look back at it, uh, to some extent, some people used to use when it used to started out when it was starting out. Facebook's like, oh yeah, high school kids or whether it's college kids joining, and then you get, they started to market to the older crowd, and the older crowd's like, wait a minute, I don't want to see Benny from high school. He was a bully, and the last thing I want him to do is show up in my email. And I was researching Facebook a couple of years back, and this figure came out that Facebook itself was mentioned, and don't quote me on this exactly, guys, but I've got to really find the article. But the name Facebook has been listed in between 20 and 30% of divorce papers in the European Union.
yeah, you're right,
So
because
that
people
shows
people
you
are
that,
messaging
yeah,
other people. Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
I got a confession to make, Alex. I
Tell
actually
me.
met my missus on Facebook.
Well, either that or WhatsApp, or
Yeah.
they own WhatsApp as well. But these are things that you got to really take a look. I'm a BlackBerry guy. I used to own a BlackBerry. I'm a Canadian, and BlackBerry really, I think, at least educated Canadians about mobile security. Unfortunately, BlackBerry was one of the first smartphones out on the market ever, except that people put privacy aside and said, we like the clear screen. Let's go for Apple. But I hung on to my Blackberries as long as I could for the end-to-end encryption. They were one of the first people to come out with BBM Messenger, BlackBerry Messenger. It was the one that set it all rolling. And unfortunately, people just said, no, I don't really care about privacy. Let's send it out the door. And BlackBerry was, quite a remarkable company. They really they were one of the ones that the NSA even had problems. Even Edward Snowden went on record saying, this phone, oops, it's a BlackBerry, what do we do now? And these that's when privacy had a value to it. And I think today, in today's day, privacy is a currency.
Yeah, yeah,
It's something that you should cherish. I mean, not getting a bit nostalgic here, but I mean, bring back the old blockbuster videos. I mean, you
yeah,
can integrate in humanity once again. And today, now, it's just people looking for movies on computers. I just remember that time. And once again, I guess I'm looking back, guys, reflecting. But I remember that time of going into that blockbuster video, picking up that video, interacting with people. Hey, is this a good movie? Or, oh, that movie's out again. Oh, maybe. And it was, human one-to-one interaction. Now we have a company based in Silicon Valley that's burned 800 billion of its market cap, 20 billion of cash to try to convince us on something that we could have easily done many years ago. Why do we need virtual reality? We just need to get back to reality,
yeah,
AJ.
yeah, that's right. I mean, I have a lot of friends who are lawyers and work in the criminal law department, and they are telling me the amount of convictions they've had because of mobile phones. You might do anything and they will convict you using your mobile phone. They can
Mm,
trace you, they can trace a person where they were, at what time. They can download every single conversation that you've had. They don't even need physically, they don't even need your phone physically. They can do that remotely. And yeah, so these criminal lawyers, they've said the first thing we do before we try anyone, we kind of check all their phone details, and that's it. Once we get all the evidence, they can't deny it. When this goes to the court of law, the phone never lies. And they can
mm,
and they've and this is what you might think. You're having some sort of privacy, but you don't. These phones, they monitor your your all your activity. And nowadays people are so dependent on their phones. They do everything on their phones nowadays.
mhm.
They do their shopping on their phones, they do their messaging, they book their cabs, they book their flights. You book everything, is done using your phone. You activate your smart devices. People use everything for the phone except using it for what the phone is
A
invented
phone.
for. Yeah, a phone. Yeah, except you calling people, because people have no time to use the basic function like call people. I mean, I tried calling people with my phone the other day, and it wouldn't go through because of the bad signal. And I'm thinking, hang on a second, guys. You buy a phone, and if the basic thing is not even working, where you can't call anyone, then what is the point of having a phone? It's just a walking, it's just a walking tool where people can spy on you, people can convict you in the future if you're doing something wrong. Even if you say something wrong online, Alex, if you kind of
Mhm.
have the wrong political views, you post it on Twitter, and somebody reports you. That's it. You can have the authorities of knocking on your door. People don't understand how dangerous phones are these days. You might
Yeah, and
you might think it's harmless, but it's not. It's very, very dangerous.
I think you've hit the nail on the head there about, the risks of mobile phones. Now, most people use them sometimes for entertainment, sometimes people use them for phone calls. I mean, whatever happened to that quality, deep voice, that good bass when you picked up a phone and you
Mm,
called somebody and you could hear that person's voice crack, or that person, you could almost feel an emotion on that other end of the line. Now we're using these apps that use voiceover, a VoIP, using digital voices to make it
mm,
easier to bring that digital voice over a bandwidth, because all these types of things. And I'm talking about the old rotary phones where you spin the dial, you pick it up, there was a bit of an acoustic sound to the headset, you had a
mm.
phone call. It was an interactive phone call. Now it's, to me, I don't know, maybe I'm different, but to me, it's a tin effect. I have iPhones, I have Samsungs, all that kind of stuff. The voice quality, there's nothing beats the good old phone calls. from the old rotary phones back in the late 80s, early 90s, where you had that true sound, when you called somebody at home. And I think
mm,
another thing that we're really being detached, Facebook hires psychiatrists. They hire professionals to try to understand the way people think. What do they touch? What will they click on? This company is not built to, hey, come on in, just give us your name. Everything's good. We'll give you this for free. When somebody gives you something for free like that, there
mm,
is a strategy behind it. This is an evil company. There's no doubt about it.
yeah.
It is one of the most evilest companies on the planet. Now, they have lied to Congress. They've lied to pretty much everybody. Oh, well, we didn't really. Well, oh, did we do that? Oh, it's a mistake. Slap on the hand, right? But how do we get back? Uh, Away? How do you get back away from this? And I think what's eventually going to happen is people are just going to tune out eventually. I think they're going to slowly go back off the grid, and they're going to go back and want that human interaction. I was kind of hoping that during the pandemic fiasco that families would be brought closer together, but in fact, some of them are farther apart than they ever were now. I'm not sure if it's people were just indulged in their own world by the use of, Netflix or whatever, but everybody became insular. No one became, hey, let's communicate. We've been shut off from the planet for a couple of years. And this is the real big risk that society has. We have to take a step back and really understand and analyze what these companies are doing. They are rotting some of the society to the core. Their technology is being used for many things, and they know it.
Mm, mm,
You can't tell me that these companies don't know exactly what people are doing on their platforms. Of course they know. And you know, you think that Facebook has now laid off 11,000 people. You don't think that any of them are going to be upset or try to sabotage or maybe have copied a lot of information on their way out the door? I mean, we're pretty naive people, I tell you.
yeah, that's right, Alex. And when I was growing up, back 10, 20 years ago, when Facebook was big, and I remember reading a lot of stories where people were having car accidents because they were on their Facebook when they were driving, and they were checking their messages when they were driving. And I must admit, I was like that at one point. I was driving my car and I would get a notification on my phone and I would check what it was, and it's on my Facebook, and I'll be driving and I'll be checking my messages. But luckily, obviously, I didn't have an accident. But I've seen a lot of y- I've seen a lot of kind of accidents where people are on their Facebooks and they kind
Mm.
of drive their car into other things. And on the newspaper report, I would say people saying, "Oh, I, I was the reason I had this accident is because Facebook is so addictive. I couldn't put my phone down. I had to check what the message was. I just couldn't put it down. It was just so addictive." And I think Facebook was made like that, so it's very addictive. At one point, you can't stop. Um, but you basically can't put it down. And Facebook at the time, you got to understand that was kind of a tool for freedom. At one point, people used to put their messages on Facebook, and they used to post it and how they feel and what they feel about life and stuff. So so it's not a quick thing where you see someone's picture. You have to read the whole message. And when you're driving and you're reading the message, or somebody replies to your message, you obviously try and read it and reply back. And that's what it was about at one point. And it was very addictive. It was very dangerous. But that nowadays it's gone now. Nobody
Mm.
uses it as a free platform anymore, because most users who actually speak their minds get booted out or banned or
Yeah.
kicked out.
Can I add
Um,
to that, AJ?
yeah,
I
go
want
on.
to add to that. When you say speak their mind, I was sitting down with a group of people and discussing about governments and stuff. And I was sitting beside two Chinese people, and there was another person that was chiming in on the conversation as well. And they said, "Yeah, and the Westerner said to me, Alex, at least I can criticize my prime minister or my president without having any consequences." And I thought about that for a moment, and I thought, well, is that comment true? Can you criticize? I'll use Canada for example. Could I criticize Justin Trudeau uh, on a street corner? Maybe, possibly. But then there's laws that could say, okay, they can cite you for any laws. Maybe you're a terroristic threat. I know there's ones in the UK where they can search you if they think that you are going to commit an act of terror. Or there are other things. They could say, you're disturbing the peace. You can be arrested. Okay. And I kept thinking about that. Can I criticize? Even an issue of saying something wrong from, let's use it from a pronoun standpoint. If you don't criticize your government, you got to be careful that you don't criticize or get someone's pronouns wrong in Canada, because then you could be canceled as well for that.
Yeah.
And I came up with something interesting. And this is here. I'm going to put this on the screen here. Yes, the no freedom in China argument. And I kind of jumped to the defense of the Chinese girls that were sitting beside me. And I was telling my friend, I said, what if you were happy with the government? What if you were happy with the prime minister or the president of your company or country? What if you're happy that they invested billions into infrastructure, took 800 million people out of poverty? What if you didn't want to criticize? Does that mean that you don't have freedom? And the guy that was, talking to me says, well, why wouldn't they criticize? I said, well, if you voted for somebody and you were happy what they're doing, if you were Boris Johnson, and you voted for him and he was still in power, would you criticize him? Well, no, that guy said, well, maybe I like Boris Johnson. Okay, you like him. So this assumption that Chinese, if they were given a megaphone and be allowed to say what they want to say, most politics are not impacting people's lives here. They're not at all. And I don't want the Western society to think that people don't have a voice here. Boy, they can complain if they want here. There's plenty of platforms that can complain. An example of that is, I can scream to the high heavens about a pothole outside my mom's house in Alberta, and they'll never fix it. But if you complain about a pothole out on the street here, it's fixed in 48 hours. So you can complain here. And the interesting thing is, things get done. And you can call, prime minister of a company, whatever you want and other things, but they don't care. No one's listening to you over there. And that's frustrating. And that's where I've really said, wait a minute, this society that has not been programmed to be divided. And I'm not saying people aren't, they can go amongst their ways. I asked the girls, I was like, you can go drink if you want. You can go study where you want. You can buy whatever clothes you want. You can do anything. You can get on the phone. You can yell. You can scream. You can swear. You can not eat this for dinner, not eat that for dinner, go party, drink at the bar, whatever. And it comes all the way back when you include somebody from our countries. Oh, but you don't have freedom of expression. I just don't get that argument here. I just don't understand it, because most people can say what they want here and do what they want, but most of them are pretty damn happy on what's going on with the government. Would AJ, would you complain if you had 60,000 kilometers of high-speed rail, 45 brand new airports opening, multi-billion dollars, one of the lowest crime rates in the world, one of the best job markets and job opportunities for the future, and your economy was consistently improving and poverty was slowly being alleviated? Would you be out there in the street corner getting pissed off? Tell me.
I would be pissed off, but not at the government. No,
Yeah.
no. Yeah, exactly. If you're happy, then there's no reason to kind of go out there and complain, really. If you are pissed off, it'll be about other things, not the government. You'd be pissed off that you forgot your umbrella when it's raining or something, mediocre things.
I mean, what are your thoughts? I mean, what's the direction of the UK going?
It's not very good, unfortunately, Alex. So, so yeah, obviously the interest rates have risen. People's mortgages are going up. Every single day, the inflation's going up. And right now it's very, very cold, so everyone's probably got the heating on. And yeah, things are not very good. I mean, look, end of the day, Rishi Sunak, we all know he's being controlled by the same people that were controlling Liz Truss. And how do we know that? Because Liz Truss made some rules to help the banks. For example, she got rid of the cap on bonuses. So now bankers can get, unlimited amount of bonuses. And what did Rishi Sunak do when he came in? He kept that same cap. He didn't reverse that. He reversed other things, but he hasn't reversed anything to do with the bank. Um, the fact that he was forced to go to COP27, it shows that he's basically under the thumb of energy companies and fossil fuel companies. He did not want to go to COP27. He was forced to go, and even though he went there, he came straight back. He doesn't care about any climate change. Doesn't care about renewables. He's all under the thumb of the fossil fuel companies, and you've seen the profits for BP, Shell, which are
Yeah.
going up 81 billion in like 3 months. I mean, that's a ridiculous amount of money. If that money went into the British economy, nobody would have any issues. Everybody would be happy because their bills will come all the way down. Um, uh, Everyone would be happy with the government saying, "Yeah, you know what, the government is actually helping us bring our bills down." So imagine the amount of people that would have been so happy and overjoyed because if the government does these steps, even if they nationalize these energy companies, and if they nationalize these energy companies, we're talking about 300 to 600 billion that would go into the British economy every single year. And with that money, they can improve the healthcare system. They can improve, um, the infrastructure. They can improve people's lives. People's bills will go all the way down. Instead, what they're doing is they're making these rich companies richer. They're making the shareholders richer, and the people who are suffering are the ordinary people, the middle class, the lower end class. And it seems like a lot of people are going to be losing their homes as well, Alex. People cannot afford these interest payments on their mortgages, on their loans, and a lot of people are going to be losing their homes the next few months. And guess who's going to buy up these homes? The rich people,
Yeah.
because
Hmm.
in the United States, 2008, there was a huge foreclosure market where people were losing homes left, right, and center, and the banks were buying them up. Oil, rich oil companies were buying them up. So the poor and middle class are losing homes while the rich are just picking them up in a bargain, you know, bargain basement price. And this is going to same thing's going to happen here as well. I don't have any good hopes for the UK government, Alex, and I just
Hmm.
don't think they have a solution, and they have no clue. I mean, the number one thing to do is to reverse these sanctions, first of all, and the
Mhm.
second thing to do is nationalize these energy companies. And people say, "Oh, you can't nationalize these energy companies because these are private companies." Well, guess what? guess what the British government did in the Second World War? They nationalized every single company. In times of war, in times of emergency, the government has powers to do that. And you might think, oh, we're not in war. But yeah, we are in a war. We're in a proxy war with Russia. We're in a proxy war. We're having a war, economic war. So right now, people's lives, people
Mhm.
would rather have bombs falling on their heads than watch their kids go hungry or cold. You know. Trust me, if it was an actual war situation, people could understand. People could say, yeah, you know what, it's not the government's fault. But the people at the moment, they are feeling that it is the government's fault, and the government can do something about it, but they don't want to do anything about it. They don't want to take money off these millionaires and billionaires, because they know these guys control the government. They control
Mm.
Rishi, the banks control
Yeah.
Rishi, the energy companies control Rishi. So there's no way they would do that. It takes for a very strong man to come up and declare something like that. Because if you as a prime minister come up and say, you know what, guys, these energy companies, these banks have been taking our money for so long, they've been getting away with it. It's going to have to come to an end. So from today, I announce nationalization of the energy companies, and I want to nationalize all the banks as well. So everything's monitored, everything's regulated, and the government will control it. And
Mm.
we are going to take their money and we're going to use it in our economy. We're going to give it to the people. And imagine the kind of respect that person would get, that leader would get. Everybody would literally love that leader. Everyone would say, you know what, this is a leader who's actually doing stuff for the people, and this is what real democracy is about. But none of these leaders have the balls to do anything like that. And even if a leader comes up and says, you know what, these sanctions have been a mistake, so what we need to do, we need to push for peace. So instead of giving weapons to Ukraine, let's stop all weapons going into Ukraine. Let's force Ukraine into the negotiation table with Russia. Let's reverse
Mhm.
all of these sanctions, and let's get people talking again. Even if one Western leader said that, you know, use a bit of common sense. Imagine the respect that leader would have had throughout the world. The
Mhm.
whole world would have been like, you know what, this is a leader with balls. This is a leader who knows what he's talking about. I wouldn't mind having a leader like that, running my country. But unfortunately, the Western leaders, they just lost, Alex. They're completely they have no backbone, no balls. They're all under the thumb of major corporations, and we have no hope, basically.
Mm.
Over to you.
Yeah, thanks. Just going to answer some questions here. This one's coming in. I heard that some airports in China had over 98% of their flights canceled. Um, Possibly international. I rather doubt domestic at all. This is just giving you a shot of the domestic flights here in China going. You can see the flights there in real time. Um, I don't see a disruption domestically at all, but you have to keep in mind that some of these flights that are going on now, a lot of these jets that are coming internationally are just reserving the flight. I believe it's a flight path or the flight time slot. You have to reserve that months in advance. So, yeah, I when I came here last August, there was only 4 flights a month from Thailand. So yeah, I mean, it's known that the international flights are not rocking and rolling, but we have had reports. Of course, other airlines have announced that they are ramping up their flights for it, hoping that something will take place here in the first quarter of next year. Something else I want to bring up that we had in last week's show. Um, there was something that I'm all for innovation, okay, um, and I'm all for coming up with new ideas, new software, stuff like that. It's okay, if it helps you improve your life. It's interesting. I mean, What technology do you use, AJ, that helps improve your life? Maybe you can help me out with that.
That's interesting. I think, hey, look, I'm not going to knock YouTube. I think YouTube has helped me with my life. I've learned a lot from YouTube. So I think something like YouTube, I would probably not be able to live without. Social
Okay.
media is useless. I don't think that helps a life. I think that reduces a life. Yeah, I think YouTube. I like very basic things to survive, Alex. I'm not really a big
Hmm.
techno person. I don't own huge gadgets or anything like that. Yeah, I have a phone, but I'm not really a huge gadget fan. I mean, microwave oven would probably be. I'd probably think has helped me because I heat up my food a lot. I
Okay.
get a lot of food from outside, so obviously I have to heat it up. Um, in terms of other technologies, I can't think of anything else, Alex. I think that's it.
That's interesting.
Maybe the
No,
fridge because I need to put
yeah,
my food in the
yeah. I
fridge.
mean, it's certain technologies that, well, in the future here, I've got a real interesting guest that's going to come on our show together, and it's in the medical field where this person is involved in, and it is showing me some technology that I was shocked. I toured this company 2 weeks ago, and it had a 95% success rate using ultrasound to eliminate breast cancer,
Oh, really? Wow.
non-intrusive, through the skin into the tissue, and through this technology. And I said, "What are you guys talking?" When I was touring the company, I thought, "Is this in its starting stage? Is this a startup?" And quickly into the demonstration, about 40 minutes into it, it was evident that this has been in use for a decade. And I said, "Why isn't this in Canada? Why isn't this in you? Why are they still cutting people into pieces and chopping up parts of cancer?" Now it's something that can't be used for everything. It can be used for breast cancer, cervical cancer, and a couple of other types of surgery. Um, and I was shocked, guys. I was shocked. I said, "Why isn't this in the United States?" And there was a pause, and I'm going to let the company actually come on to the show here in a few weeks to talk about why there was a pause, because it wasn't in the US or it wasn't in a lot of these Western countries. But yet it was in developing countries. It was in countries in Africa. It was in other countries that have, I think the track record is over 200,000. I guess we can call them surgeries, that it had a track record. And the only conclusion I could come up with was the reason why they didn't have this technology in the United States is because maybe big pharma, maybe massively billable surgeons would be quickly out of work by a machine. And I'm not making this stuff up, guys. This is a local company here. I'm not going to get into the names about it because I'm going to actually bring one of the spokesmen on here to the program. And it really kind of sent shivers up my back, saying, "Well, why isn't this everywhere? Why isn't this in every country?" And it was crazy, but I could see why, from a business aspect, that this type of machinery, this type of technology, um, would not be welcomed with open arms, because I was hearing the price tag of the surgery from a private clinic was anywhere from $3,000 to $5,000. Now, I don't know the cost of breast surgery in North America, if you have surgery, and I'm not even sure the deductible, it's probably pretty big too, um, but what that cost is. And I was speechless when I walked out of there, and I was shaking my head saying, something's not right here. Something doesn't make any sense. And then they were showing the doctors that were using this product in other countries and the success that they were having with it. And it's amazing. They had testimonials from people. It's real. And so when you start to see that type of technology, they used a term that was really interesting to me. And they said, well, maybe Alex, it's in America, this is called end of line for the surgeon. It means that the surgeon doesn't really have a business. Everything that he's been taught in school to conduct, and I'm not talking all cancer surgery, I'm just talking, breast cancer, because that's where most of the display was. But when they were saying that, this is pretty much most of the time extremely effective, I could see how doctors that have maybe gone to school for many years um, would kind of say, wait a minute, billing, lifestyle, or bring in a machine, cut my earnings. I don't know. I know that there's a lot of amazing healthcare workers out there in the world. I think some healthcare systems, United States has a great healthcare if you can afford it. If you can't afford it, it's one of the most expensive healthcares in the system, and it will bankrupt you. But yeah, just seeing that kind of technology really, it resonated, and I think that that's someone that I would like to have on the show at another time. So, kind of stuff like that is what I'm talking about, AJ. Those kind of things.
Yeah, I mean, we all know pharma companies are just as bad as oil companies and, tech companies. They just after the money. Who made the most profits during the virus times? It was obviously these pharma companies, and they were selling vaccines for a ridiculous amount. They were, even now they've increased the prices to developing worlds. Um, if they were really if they really wanted to help mankind, if they really wanted to help reduce this virus at the time, they would have given it for free to developing worlds or poorer nations. But they charged them for it for a ridiculous amount, and it was absolutely crazy how much they were charging. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, these pharma companies, Alex, they are just as evil. They're all about the
Yeah.
money. If there is a cure out there, they are not going to push it. They'd rather give you stuff that's going to make them money, treatments that will make them money. Why cure someone when you can charge them for the rest of their life taking a certain medicine or going through a certain operation? Yeah, it's all about money, especially in the United States. As you know, the healthcare system, eh, they don't care whether you live or die. They only care about whether you have money or not, and that's how it works.
Scary. Okay, so there's something I wanted to bring up on the show from last week. I don't know if you guys know about this, but let me see if I can pull it up here on the screen here. We had, and this is the one thing where we talk about investment, new technologies, and like I said, I'm pretty open to discovering new technologies. I'm an early adapter, but then I become very skeptical on things that are pushed, and you have to really take a step back on some of these technologies. Okay, one, I never got into the Facebook. I mean, I think companies, well, Skype seemed to help bring phone bills down. That's for sure, right? You agree with that,
Yeah,
AJ?
yeah,
Yeah, in
yeah.
some way,
Guys,
right?
yeah, in some ways, but they still charge for um, other things. Yeah, you
Does
still.
it?
I mean, yeah, to use Skype, you still need a phone line. I mean, you still need an internet line, and you got to
Yeah,
pay for
but
that.
that's not
Yeah.
their fault.
No, it's not their fault. No, but
No, I see what you mean. I see where you're going with that. But
yeah.
let's get on to this program last week where
But if you live in
I,
UK, it is they charge you ridiculous prices
oh,
for very small speeds, very small
really?
speeds,
Okay.
and we're
Hmm.
talking yeah. I mean, in my home, broadband cost me about 40 pounds, and it's not even fast. We're not talking about 5G or anything like that. It's just average speeds.
Mm.
So yeah, it's not good.
Okay, I'm going to share this with you guys here. AJ and I ran into an interesting character on our live stream. I don't know if you guys can you see that, AJ? Did it come up on the
Yeah,
screen?
yeah, yeah.
Okay, so this was we were talking about crypto. Now, I get it. Crypto is kind of interesting. Okay, I've looked at it for many years. I've never actually invested in it because I was concerned about the fraud element. And if a person can convince me that a product is reliable, okay, we're skeptical of Facebook today, right? We are. And I think a lot of people are because they've seen the evaporation of 800 billion of market cap. AJ called this, guys, a long time ago. You were screaming from the heavens saying, this thing is going down. It did go down. And I got into quite a disagreement with this guy here on last week's program, Zoran. And he was going on. And I was telling him that, I was deeply disturbed that 1.5 million people lost 25 billion in this Celsius issue. Celsius was a platform where people put their own money in. This wasn't this wasn't Celsius's money. They just got caught in a shortfall, went bankrupt, called in everyone, and called in the the accountants, the lawyers, and the liquidators, and said we're in trouble. 1.5 million people. Good luck with that. 25 billion never recovered. Where's the money? It's gone. It's never recovered. It hasn't been recovered. So this guy jumped on the program and said to me, Alex, you don't know what you're talking about. It's not over. Go read the latest FTX and Sam Bankman-Fried have taken Celsius out of bankruptcy. Really? Really? Okay, so I want you guys to follow this story. So a company that's can't come up with $25 billion for 1.5 million customers was supposedly being saved by a gentleman named Sam Bankman-Fried, or SBF as he otherwise is known. And I said to this guy, I've really got an issue with this this stuff going on here. If it wasn't for all these scams going on the crypto market, I might be interested in learning a little bit more about this stuff. Well, lo and behold, probably not to his liking, but the owner, the person that was supposed to be taking over this company, has now filed for bankruptcy a week later with an $8 billion hole in the balance sheet. And we have no idea how much money is being lost in this one. But FTX, which was valued at $32 billion early this year, is now in jeopardy of collapsing. This is what I'm talking about.
Bitcoin is going down.
It's a good idea, but when you riddle these ideas with fraud or bad intentions, this is where I say enough is enough, guys. I don't know how many more millions of people are going to get screwed, but it was probably a pretty good idea. But when you say regulation, that's a swear word in the crypto world. A guy comes on our thing last week, screams at me to the high heavens. I don't know what I'm talking about. This 1.5 million customers are going to be saved by what? Another guy that has just bankrupted $32 billion in another crypto one? They're falling over and over and over. My issue here is not the technology, not the intentions for better of mankind. It's the people that are behind these things that create the problem. This Meta is a problem, everyone. Something is not right. There's pushback, obviously. 800 billion lost in market cap, and as AJ thinks, anywhere from 20 to 100 billion spent. People aren't integrating. I think you're right, AJ. I think people are figuring this out. They're saying, no way, you fool us once, you fool us twice, but you ain't going to fool us the third time. Thoughts on that?
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. I think this virtual reality thing is a one step too far for Facebook. Everyone knows that Facebook is a very evil company. There's no privacy laws, and you've seen cancel culture, how it's been
Yeah.
working throughout the last 5-10 years, and people will have their accounts taken away in Twitter, Facebook, just for saying something. Then just for saying their mind. And we've had film actresses being cancelled as well. I'm talking about this young lady called Gina Carano, who said something, um, who reposted another um, post, and she didn't even mention it. She just reposted it on her, I think, Twitter or Instagram, and she got completely cancelled by Disney. So you as and I think the whole world knows, one of the biggest problems is the privacy laws. And if you invest your time and money and energy into this metaverse, you say something wrong or you do something wrong and they ban you, and they say you lost all
Yeah,
your
it's crazy.
investment. It's not really it doesn't really give you much confidence, to be honest. I would definitely never spend my time or money into that crap. I mean, I don't even play online games. I think online games are a scam as well, Alex. I mean, nowadays, games where, they take microtransactions from you. And I just feel sorry for all these people who are into gaming. I mean, I remember growing up when I was playing games, and when you pay for a game, that's what you pay for. There's no hidden transactions. There's no, you know, trying to scam you for more money. You don't have to buy skins and stuff like that.
Mm.
I mean, we're talking about 80s and 90s, year 2000. They had some great games back in the day, and I was a big fan of shoot 'em ups. I don't know if you remember R-Type and
No,
many
I
other.
don't. No, I don't.
And I still have fighting games like Street Fighter 2 and things
Yeah,
like
I
that.
remember
Yeah,
this. Yeah.
yeah, and I used to love those games. And he was all about gaming. He wasn't never about taking money off you. But nowadays, if you try and play a game online, they'll charge you for this, they'll charge you for that. You want to have the latest skins, they'll charge you for that. It's all about making money. And uh, and yeah, it's just taking the fun out of gaming when you have to kind of spend your money to win. And that's what they call these games, play to win or pay to win.
Yeah.
um,
Pay to.
especially especially mobile phone games. Every single mobile phone games you see,
Mm.
if you spend a lot of money on it, upgrade your character, you can win. But that's not skill, that's just money.
Well,
You're
let
paying.
let me add to this, AJ. Uh, when you're talking to people and you're communicating with people, there used to be, some value to hearing a person's voice when they called you, or somebody writing a letter. Let's look at how we used to communicate. We used to call someone. Oh, if they're not home, okay, leave a message with the parent, or leave a message with somebody. Hey, is Josie home? Josie's not home. Okay, tell her to call Alex when she gets home. And then you wait. Or if you're gone away on summer vacation, you would write a letter, and there would be that whole thing of appreciation from getting a handwritten letter. Like, when's the last time, most people watching, when's the last time you guys have actually sat down and wrote a letter to someone and said, hey, how you doing? And this is the thing, that a lot of this technology, and here's the total disappointing thing about this metaverse thing, and I've said it already once in this program. Why is a guy and his company trying to lead us into a virtual reality when we actually have our own reality? We don't need to go into the vortex, Mark. We can walk out our door, maybe leave our phone at home. Wouldn't it be great to, I saw a really interesting idea the other, I don't think it was late last year, where a couple invite you to their apartment. It's like a supper club. They cook for you, and you go there with your girlfriend or your wife, and you sit and enjoy the view like it was your home. But the hosts cook, of course, is a little bit more expensive than the average restaurant, but it takes you out of that service industry setting and it puts you in the setting of feeling appreciated. And that's where I struggle with this metaverse thing. I just cannot see how a company is trying so hard or thinks everyone is so stupid that they're going to be dragged in at $1,500 entry price for a sweaty headset to be walking around talking to other people when they can just take it off and talk to somebody in real life.
Yeah. Don't
And
forget,
it,
there's no legs in the virtual world. You're just floating torsos. It's absolutely scary and ridiculous.
and this point comes up here too, and you can definitely confirm this. The Facebook metaverse, they make the rules. It is about control. I
Yep.
mean, it's true, and it's really bothersome. And this was one of the darlings of the S&P. Um, it's absolutely staggering that people can be walked into this. And the good thing is that most people are not they're not buying it. They're not buying it. And that's the thing, is that some technology, as that example I gave you, that can help cure cancer, that's the stuff I get excited about. But I got to tell you, AJ, if there was a town that I could walk into right now where the Blockbuster video was open, the good old hamburgers were grilling on the grill there with I don't know, a strawberry milkshake, maybe in a drive through that I could pull up and turn on the good old radio and zone out. Boy, what would I do for that right now? I tell you, seeing all this this metaverse stuff. And guys, I've said this to you guys a few times. I love technology. I love it. But this is now too far, where we have companies, these big companies that have really screwed up a lot of people's lives, are trying to say, you know what, guys, maybe it's good if you just, I don't know, stepped out of reality, come into our reality. It's pretty damn creepy. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I think the people, like, I mean, look, social media, you can easily get into that. It's free. There's not much investment, and it probably did improve people's lives. Social media, I'm not going to lie, it probably did improve. It helped people
Mm,
connect and get together
mm-hmm,
at one point. But as soon as they started monetizing it, and making money from
mm-hmm,
it, then it lost all credibility. But here with Facebook, even their own, you know, Facebook, even Facebook executives are coming out and saying, if we don't like it, how do we expect people to like it? And Facebook users are being forced to use this metaverse, and none of the users like it. And Facebook, everyone's rejecting it, and yeah, they must think that people are stupid. Where Mark Zuckerberg must think he's some sort of space Jesus, where he can he can he can make up some technology and expects everyone to follow him, like he's some sort of space
oh, it's
Jesus or
crazy.
technology Jesus. But yeah, people have completely rejected him. I think he's failed. I don't think he's if the shares go down even more, and they will, Alex, they will. I mean,
Mm-hmm,
they've lost 11,000 people from Facebook. And what does that tell you? That tells you, number one, they've either, they will kick them out from other departments. They're
mm-hmm.
not gonna. I'll tell you, they're not gonna kick them out from Meta, because they're gonna carry on investing in Meta. They're gonna double down on Meta.
Yeah, of
So
course, of course.
anyone with Meta skills, Meta developers, they're gonna keep them in the company. The people who have left the company are ones who are focusing on other parts of the business. So other parts of the business is going to be slowing down, and they're going to
Hmm.
double down in Meta, and this is why the company is going to carry on going down a spiral, because we know Mark Zuckerberg, right? We know he's got a huge ego. He doesn't want to be proved that he's wrong, so he's going to double down on Meta wherever he goes. He's going to pour more money in, and he's going to do it until the company burns and completely crashes, and it will happen. Mark my words, it will happen.
Oh wow! So AJ, let's pretty much wind up the show here in a
Yeah,
few
sure.
minutes. But maybe there's some things that you want to carry on with the program, talk about before we zone
Yeah,
out here. It's been a
yeah,
great
because
chat on this.
I just posted a link. Can you share that link for me?
Yeah, yeah. 1 second. Let me have a look here. Yeah, let's see if I can open it. 1 second. Okay, wow. Okay, wow. Okay, let me get that up on the screen here. Okay,
Sure.
1 sec. Okay, this one here is SMIC. Is that what you
Yeah,
want up
yeah,
there? Okay. Yep.
yeah. So I actually mentioned this in the last chat, and I also mentioned in a video I released a few days ago. I said that
Mm-hmm.
SMIC, now's the time to put shares into that company, because that
Mm,
company is going to start rising up, and you can see from their earnings report that just came out, 35 rise in Q3 earnings. SMIC is one of those companies who's been heavily sanctioned by the US.
mm-hmm.
And however, they've got 3 factories coming up in Shanghai, in Shenzhen, and they also got another factory in Tianjin coming up. And they are going to be selling chips all throughout China, and their value is going to shoot up by two,
Mm.
300%. So I did mention that SMIC is one company to look out for. So we were talking about these Western companies who are losing their shares, but these Chinese companies are going the opposite way. They're moving up, and you know, you look at Nvidia, AMD, chip
Yeah.
companies in the US. Their shares have been going down. We're talking about 60%, 70% in for AMD. Nvidia's lost 50%. TSMC's lost 50%. But these Chinese chip companies are going the opposite way, despite having loads of sanctions. And this is why they don't understand the Chinese market. They don't understand that you know the Chinese market is a huge market. They are the factory of the world. They build loads of IoT devices, so they need chips for that. So if the West is not going to sell it to them, these Chinese companies are going to take the place and start selling it into their own market. And I think this is like a huge own goal for these for that chip
I
bill
think you're right.
that
I think you're right.
Biden has done. Yeah, I just wanted to kind of clarify that.
No, and I mean that's a good point to make. I mean, we're in a pretty strange world here where Biden's getting on an airplane. I'm hearing to visit Xi in the next near-term future here,
No,
and
no,
I
he's
mean
actually going to meet him in the G20
G20, huh?
meeting.
I
Yeah,
mean,
there's a
when they're
G20 happening
throwing,
in Bali.
I mean, why would it be in any of interest of President Xi to meet this guy?
Yeah, no,
Did you hear him
he's
yesterday during
forced.
his
Yeah, he's
speech?
forced to meet him. Yeah, I think he's forced to meet Biden. But the Chinese are actually saying that they do not want to meet Biden, so they are taking steps not to meet him. But Biden wants to meet him, so he's not going to China to meet him. He's going to the G20, and G20 is.
Biden was misquoted as when he was chatting yesterday talking about Ukraine. He used Fallujah.
Yeah.
Just, oh, these guys are just crazy. They're
Yeah.
crazy. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's
Sorry, you
it's
were
it's
saying something earlier.
yeah. No, I think it's what a great chat it was today to talk about this kind of stuff. I mean, it's really. I don't know where Facebook goes or Meta goes from here. I mean, it will bumble along. It's still got a war chest of money left into it. Um, I don't know. I mean, these economies are a mess, and they're going to take quite a bit of time to get them out of this mess. I don't know. Yeah. So let's we'll wind it up with a bit of music for everybody here,
Sure.
if you guys don't mind. I'll give AJ the last chat, and everybody, don't forget to hit that subscribe button below. If you want to visit me on my channel, it's Reporterfy Media. That's in the link. Of course, we put a lot of content out for iChongqing. We're streaming on their channel as well today. And once again, it's been a pleasure to spend time with you, AJ. And I will let you close out. Take as long as you want. I'll bring in a bit of the music there. Don't let that distract you. And then we'll cool, calm, and collectively quiet down the chat. Okay, guys, take care from me, and I'll leave you guys to AJ. All right.
Thanks, Alex. I just want to give a big shout out to Frank. Frank was on my show yesterday, and he did amazing. He was absolutely amazing in the show. If you haven't caught up with that show from yesterday, please watch it if you get a chance. So big shout out to Frank. Well done to coming on. And if you guys obviously want to come on and have a chat with me about anything, you don't need to be shy. You're welcome to at any point. Just make sure you guys are on my Patreon and locals as well, because I'm kind of having that as an open invitation to whoever's on there. Thanks for everyone that's listening so far to my channels, to my videos, everyone that's kind of listened to us today, blabbering on. I hope it wasn't too boring for you guys. Hope you enjoyed it. And thanks to all the moderators, each and every one of you. I really appreciate your help, guys. Really appreciate it. You guys are ever